Hello classy people, this is Josh the Top Hat Gamer, and this week I'm reviewing Ratchet and Clank. No matter how old I get, I'll always get really excited by mascot platformers. It happened back in 2002 with Ratchet and Clank, and even now as I play the video game adaptation of the movie based on that game from 14 years ago, I'm still as excited as ever. But how does this updated reimagining of the game hold up? Let's take a look. So as I said, Ratchet and Clank is a retelling of the original story to coincide with the release of the film adaptation. So the story is mostly the same as it was 14 years ago, but with a few twists here and there. The game follows the titular duo as they team up to stop the villainous Blarg from destroying planets in the pursuit of their perfect homeworld. Fans of the series will find most of this game familiar. Ratchet is still an ambitious young Lombax who dreams of galaxy-spanning adventures, and Clank is still a lovable little know-it-all. With that said, there are a few differences here and there. Unlike the original, this retelling is narrated by the ever-charismatic Captain Quark, allowing for some humorous voiceover work that is most noticeable during tutorials or whenever the game gives you a hint. Additionally, there's a section of the original game's plot that seems to have been cut entirely, but the story won't really feel like it's missing anything to players who haven't experienced the original. The story also incorporates Dr. Nefarious, and this helps to tie this game into the others in the series a little bit more, while not feeling overly forced at the same time. It's an inoffensive change that helps set this retelling apart from the original. More noticeable than the aforementioned plot changes are the far superior visuals. Back in the day, Ratchet and Clank looked fantastic, but this just takes everything from that game and polishes it to ridiculous levels. I'd even call it one of the best looking PS4 games on the system today, thanks to its technical competence and colourful visual style. The game runs surprisingly well too. It may only run at 30 FPS, but it is solid for the duration, even with the chaos of explosions and bullets flying around you at any given moment. And on that note, the game sounds fantastic too, from its cacophony of explosions and gunfire to the satisfying noises each enemy makes as it bites the dust. On top of that, the voice acting is spot on, from Ratchet's headstrong confidence to Clank's tiny robot nerd voice. The standout performance is easily Captain Quark though, and the whole clueless hero shtick is as entertaining as ever.
He's on fire again.
I know.
My name is Copernicus Quark, and yes, that was an impressive wall of fire I just walked past.
From a gameplay perspective, Ratchet and Clank is just about the perfect remake. It takes a handful of improvements from later games in the series and applies them to the basic structure and core gameplay of the original, making this the definitive Ratchet and Clank game. The core elements of shooting and platforming are as solid as they've ever been, with responsive controls and plenty of unlockable gear that allows for a decent level of variety. The basic platforming isn't overly challenging, but when you're given access to the gravity-defying Magna Boots or the game adds more and more swinging challenges, things start to get a little bit trickier. The combat on the other hand is fairly challenging from the get-go, but you're given access to so many weapons that you'll soon pick a favourite for every situation. Need some crowd control? Here's your handy flamethrower. Tough aerial enemies got you down? Homing rockets are your best friend. Want to make people dance for the hell of it? Ratchet and Clank has something for that as well. In addition to the fairly wide arsenal, every weapon can be upgraded through the use of Raritanium, allowing you to buff the stats of your favourite weapons, as well as giving them new second abilities such as spread shots for your blaster or a charge shot for the pixelator. Running around shooting enemies with your own personal armory is extremely satisfying, and knowing that every weapon can continue to improve provides enough incentive to buy all of them and upgrade them to their full potential. It also helps that the controls are intuitive, and you're given a generous aim assist to allow you to easily maintain your mobility while shooting dudes down. And on the off chance you start to tire of the tight shooting and platforming, then there's a bunch of minigames to break up the gameplay a little bit. Hoverboarding and grinding make a return, and are perfect as short diversions to keep the core mechanics from feeling stale. On top of that, there are flight sections that scratch the dogfighting itch that comes with playing a game set in outer space. Some levels even put you in control of Clank, and challenge you to utilize different gadgetbots to make it to the end of short puzzle platforming sections. While these sequences offer a nice change of pace to the core run and gun mechanics, their brief nature means that they never outstay their welcome. In terms of content, Ratchet and Clank has a lot to offer. Each world contains a few objectives to complete, and there are a number of stat buffing cards to collect or gold bolts to hunt down as well. If that's not enough for you, Challenge Mode acts as the game's New Game Plus, allowing you to max out your arsenal's capabilities while coming up against tougher foes. All in all, Ratchet and Clank is about as good as mascot platformers come. The platforming can be a little bit simple, but the tight controls, varied weaponry, and enjoyable side mechanics make the gameplay some of the most fun in the genre. Alongside the satisfying mechanics is a really fun story presented through gorgeous visuals and top-notch voice work, allowing this reimagining to stand tall right next to the original in terms of quality. Ratchet and Clank gets the Top 8 Gamer rating of excellent. Sure, there are a few things missing or changed from the original, but with its numerous improvements, both mechanic and aesthetic, this reimagining stands as the perfect entry point for series newcomers and an awesome nostalgia trip for veteran fans. If you own a PS4, you owe it to yourself to check this one out. Thanks for watching, I hope you found the review informative. If you missed last week's review on Dark Souls 3, click the annotation. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's time to rain down hell on my enemies.